Hey, welcome back everyone. It is time for another red hot cover call video. Well, hey, look, I'm back behind the mic. We're going to talk about a trade, and that trade is going to produce a profit. That profit is going to be used to buy a dividend-paying stock. That's where we create passive income. I'm going to show you exactly how I do this very simple, absolute, brilliant mindset switch where we go from placing a trade, being happy if we made money on the trade or not, to actually becoming a wealthy investor, where we take our money, we generate profit, then we take that profit and generate true passive income. See, I'm doing it, and I'm here to show you how I do it. So stick around. I know you're going to like this one. Now, what we're talking about is this. We are talking about how I use the covered call investment strategy. Yes, that's right. We're going to take our shares and we're going to write a covered call against those shares. And we're going to generate a premium profit. From that premium profit, we are then going to buy a dividend-paying stock. This is the true mindset that I have. I'm going to show you my monthly returns and where I'm at, and just so you get a feel to how good I am at this. But what I want to impress upon you is this. You can do this. I see all these people on YouTube trying to impress you with all these different investment strategies. And for the most part, really, they're just generating videos for that YouTube money. And it absolutely disappoints me because a lot of times the trades they're talking about, they don't do. I'm going to show you my trades that I have done. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I coach people. And when I coach people, we take on trades that I take on. Because, see, I put skin in the game. They want to follow me. We don't just talk hypothetical trades. We actually talk about trades that I do. Just yesterday, I talked to someone I'm coaching. He wanted to take on a position with a 3X leveraged ETF, and we went ahead and did the trade together. See, I put skin in the game. That's why when you come and watch my videos, I hope you get more from it. Because what I'm here to tell you is I just crossed 1 million views here on YouTube, and I think this month I'm knocking down that YouTube changing money of about $250. I'll tell you what, this is amazing. Do you remember back when all those YouTubers decided, all those people that were working the 9 to 5, and they had some YouTube channels where YouTube was paying them some money? I remember my channel, which is very niche, right? I talk about selling premium, writing covered calls, and at one point during the pandemic, I made like $650 a month. But back then, everybody was quitting their job and they were becoming YouTube influencers. Well, what I'm here to tell you is this. I now get triple the views and I'm literally making 3 times less the money. I really can't believe how those folks are surviving. And I truly do wish them the very best because, boy, I'll tell you what, they made a big commitment. And absolutely, when you depend on somebody else, in this case, it's YouTube, to fund your income, I'll tell you what, that is not how I'm doing it. In fact, what I'm doing is I'm using my skill and my talent. And that's selling premium. We write covered calls, we sell cash secure puts. So let me show you where we're at. The cash flow right now for this year is $261,000. Right now, we have been achieving some incredible months. I want to show you here, $19,000 for January. That's where I took that $16,000 hit on UPS. So let's just say, had I not had to sell that Leaps call option, if I owned the shares, I wouldn't have sold the stock and not taken the loss. Well, we had to take that Leaps call option hit because it expired in January. So instead of taking the guy's shares at 170, we sold the Leaps call option for a loss. We get hammered because the way my P&L works, we place a trade, we end a trade, it makes money or it doesn't, and we had to take that hit in January. That would have been around a $35,000 month. Remember, December was $29,000. Okay, so we are on a trajectory here moving higher because February we get $34,000. Remember, we're writing covered calls and selling cash secure puts. We're using the poor man's covered call. These are not dividends. These profits are only from my selling premium portfolio. So you need to understand, in and out, we make money or we don't. Knocking it down in February with 34. March blows away the street, 73. April beats February, which is 35. And look where we're at right now. What I want you to know is this. We're at 37,000, and right now I have an additional $9,000 that'll close this coming week. We could literally have a $41,000 May, and this thing is kicking because I just had a huge trade come off the board, and now I'm going to use all that money to just amplify my June returns. Hey, look, God willing, we're just going to keep this number going higher and higher. But what's important here is this. We are taking all of these profits and funneling them into dividend-paying stocks so I can have a passive investment strategy of generating some $16,000 a month in just dividends. See, we could absolutely live off of what I'm doing selling premium. And by the way, so can you. But then we take those profits and we're generating dividends. That's passive income, paying the bills, living the good life. Now let's go ahead and talk about that trade I was going to show you. We're going to talk about Coin. And I got involved with Coin back in March. We did an in-the-money covered call. So in this video, I'm going to show you all the trades that I did. We did an in-the-money covered call where when I ran the numbers and the stock was trading at 275, we gave somebody the right but not the obligation to take my shares away from me at 250. So Coin is trading at 275. I give somebody the right but not the obligation to take those shares from me cheaper. Well, they paid me $31 in intrinsic value. The $25 from 275 to 250, they pay me as a part of the premium I was given. You can see it right there, $31. The rest of it is pure time value premium. Well, the stock fell and I'm stuck with these shares. Now, because they paid me that intrinsic value, my cost basis for these shares for which I bought at $275 is now $250. Because again, they paid me the $25 in intrinsic value when we put on this trade. Now the stock fell tremendously, and that's where we find ourselves in a bad spot. Because Coin literally goes from $275 to ultimately around $200 a share. Now we're holding this position, and it's very pricey. This is almost a $185,000 position, and we find ourselves in a spot because we have to get out of this trade, or else I am just going to be trying to pick up little crumbs and trying to write covered calls where I don't have my shares taken away under my cost basis, because I have 800 shares by the time we put on the very last trade. And when we go over to the real-time trade blog, you're going to see how this trade plays out, because you notice that when Coinbase was trading at 275, this stock is just poised to actually fall. This is why I did the 250 strike, because when we looked at that support, potentially it could be 250, and I actually thought it would move higher from there. It did not, and it kept falling, and you could see that's a 200 strike right there. I'll tell you what, we were feeling it at that point because we had to hold this position what seemed to be 2 full months. Now, we end up getting out of the trade, and the stock actually turns around. But while we were holding the shares, look what we were able to do. We were able to sell premium against those shares to generate cash flow while the stock was down. See, when you're a buy and hold investor, what happens is this. You buy it here, and so do I. And the stock goes up or down. In the case of the buy and hold investor, had they bought at 275, well, they would still be down on the shares because the stock right now is trading for 235. So when we get involved with this stock, we buy the shares at 275 and we write the deep in the money covered call 250 strike. Instantly, our cost basis is 250 and we got paid all that premium. So this is beautiful because now if the stock falls, my cost basis is 250. They paid me the $25 in the covered call premium. So I hope you understand how the in-the-money covered call worked. I've been doing a lot of videos for the members talking about in-the-money trades. And we use the buyback calculator because when we use an in-the-money covered call, they're going to give us a lot of premium. But the reality is we only make money on the time value portion of that. So you have to get your numbers straight. That's why you go to cptdashboard.com, get your free spreadsheets. I don't spam you and I don't sell you nothing. Get your free calculators. The in-the-money calculator and the buyback calculator. Because when you write covered calls and you're going to buy them back, well, you absolutely have to have those calculators. And if you're going to use the poor man's covered call, well, you truly need your calculators to determine where you could buy them back and close the entire trade, selling that Leaps call option. Getting back to the coin trade, you could see on my last covered call, I lost money. And when I lost money, I was going to sell the shares immediately. This is why you actually see a profit on the share side of this trade, because I did write that 220 covered call. I did buy that back, and I paid $3,700 to end that trade. Well, I then had shares that were trading for 232. We then went ahead, sold those shares, and that profit is on the table. So when we take all of the money, right? We had a stack of money and we bought all these shares. When we buy the shares, we write covered calls, we place trades, we're working this trade until it's profitable. We ultimately are going to close the last trade. We're ultimately going to sell the shares. And that's what you see here. You see me going from a trade where clearly I was going to make a couple $1,000s, but then disaster struck. The stock fell, and when the stock fell, I was stuck holding this big boy right here. It falls 75 points. Now that is a disaster, but we held the stock, and you can see as it found its way to 200, it starts to move higher. Coinbase is one of those stocks that it is going to trade with Bitcoin, but it also has its own business, right? So it is absolutely going to move with Bitcoin and all of the new Ethereum spot ETFs. So this trade was 59 days, and not to sound redundant, but we literally got in at 275. We wrote that deep into money covered call, so our new cost basis is going to be 250. We have been navigating this since then, writing covered calls, picking strike prices, where if the stock was going to be under my cost basis of 250, I needed to pick strike prices so I wouldn't have my shares taken away. Well, what we did is we kept the time frame tight, usually 1 or 2 weeks, and we used the expected stock move calculator, which you have access to if you're a member. We used that calculator and we determined what the best strike price was. We would pick them, and as the stock would move, we would just buy those options back, pocket the money, and then write another covered call in the hopes that we'd find ourselves in a spot where on the last covered call, we get that move higher, we have our shares taken away. And if you remember, I picked a 220 strike. The stock was trading at 202. So you say to yourself, John, the stock's trading at 202. How'd you pick the 220 strike? The expected stock move calculator. That's where the IV was based on the expiration date. And we were going to go with a max move of 220. Now, of course, it moves past that, and we were able to get out of the trade profitable. And it turns out, cash on cash, we hold this thing for what seems to be 3 months. We make 7.76%. We make about $13,972. I'll tell you what, I'll take that any day of the week because we were absolutely getting kicked in the nads when the stock fell from 275, fell all the way to 200. So the reason I'm showing you this trade is because the buy and hold investor, right? The buy and hold investor would have bought in at 275 just like me. Now, they would have held it. And the stock's trading for 232 now. I, on the other hand, went ahead and sold that in the money strike, which then gave me the cost basis of 250. Now, one thing I will say, as I went ahead when the stock was trading at 200, I bought another 400 shares, bringing my cost basis down to 225. So let's just say for numbers' sake, the buy and hold investor got in at 275. His cost basis right now might be around 240. He's getting close to getting out of the trade. But what I'll tell you is this, he'll get out of the trade at 240, making nothing. Making nothing. He doesn't make 13,000. He doesn't make 7.76 on his money. He literally made nothing, and to be honest with you, he was like me, worried, because Coinbase finds its home at 200 and it starts to move higher. But man, any bad news, it could have easily seen 170. So we end up getting out of this trade. But more importantly, I just want to show you we're active in our trading. All my members got all these trades, and that's what we do. We stay the course. When you're in a bad trade, you work your way out of the bad trade. And that's what I show people how to do at my membership. I want you to go to cptdashboard.com, click Upgraded Dashboard, get all your special members videos that you don't see here, like this covered call trade explained on AMD. How about that Wynn and Las Vegas Sands covered call idea? And you get all my trades. I did 35 trades this month, and they got all of them. They saw me enter the trade and exit the trade. They get trade ideas based on me putting real skin in the game. I want you to go to cptdashboard.com, click Upgraded Dashboard. You get a 1 free month offer. So many people are signing up because they get the educational videos. They get to communicate with me, but more importantly, they see all my trades and the trade ideas I send. And I'll tell you what, those in-the-money strikes, everybody loves them because we are using about 5 to 6 of them per week, making thousands of dollars per week. Now that's what I'm making. I don't know what they're making, but at the end of the day, they see my trades. And that's what my membership's all about. Taking a peek over an active, successful trader's shoulder. And I'll tell you what, and it's up so many people's game. Now, before I let you go, I want to show you my dividend tree on my most recent stock that I have been buying using all those covered call profits. Remember at the beginning of this video, I showed you that I'm knocking down some 37,000 in May, and we made 35,000 in April, and all year we've been making money. Well, since February 27th, I have been very diligent in taking my covered call profits and buying a dividend paying stock. I call it planting my dividend tree because for me, I want a dividend tree grove and I want these dividend trees to pay me monthly cash flow. And that's what they do. Over the past 3 months, I have been able to plant 4 trees. If you remember, we started with PYPY, then we went with YMAX, then we went with ULTY, and then we had SPY-T. SPY-T has just been planted, and now it will produce some $480 per month. And I'll tell you what, that is true passive income. Right now, since I've been doing this, since February 27th, I have created some $4,400 in new passive income. And you say to yourself, what are you going to do with that money? My idea is to have a new dividend tree planted, and here's the deal. That $4,400, we're going to take all of that, plus my covered call premiums per month, and we're going to plant the newest tree. And it won't take long before we have 5, then 6, then 7, then 8. And I'll tell you what, that is passive income coming in every single month, and they are going to feed on one another until we have 10 and 15 of these things. All the while being funded by covered call writing. This is what I want you to take away from this video. Every single dividend tree has been funded by covered call premiums, meaning I use my shares or cash. We're going to go ahead and write a covered call or use the cash secure put. When we generate that profit, we're going to dump it in to a dividend paying stock until we get 1,500 shares. So every time I plant a dividend tree, which, by the way, Monday I'm doing another one. So if you're a member, you will see which one I'm going to plant. I just completed this plant Friday, 1,500 shares, and it took me 24 days to do this. Just a mere 24 days to do this. And you could see all the purchases here. And we were able to do that in a mere 24 days. So what I'm here to tell you is this. We take a semi-passive investment strategy in selling premium. We collect those premiums. We then put them into dividend-paying stocks. We create a passive income strategy where I'll be honest with you, this money's going to come in every single month and it's going to pay the bills and live the good life. Look, follow me. If you have not already, you absolutely need to subscribe to the channel. And hey, look, bang that like button. It lets me know you like what I'm doing. Be safe, be healthy, most important, be lucky. Until next time, may all your covered calls be profitable.